Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Try to adjust this a little bit. Uh, that's better. Good morning, everyone. Another Sunday, another unfiltered postpartum. And I'm super excited to have this chat today. My name is Kayla Bitten, and I am the founder and the owner of the Postpartum Clinic. And every Sunday we try to meet every Sunday where we meet and we have a chat about Unfiltered Postpartum, which is a weekly series that I have going here on Instagram, and we invite some really amazing people here. And this week we have Laura of Mothership Rising, and I'm super excited to talk about postpartum and community. Hi, let's get her on. Let's hope it works. So we always have a bit of an issue with people joining. Good morning.
Good.
Hi.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I am good. It's a good Sunday. It's shiny out here and sunny. It's been raining like a lot, and it's been making me feel sick. So I'm happy.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I'm in Southern California, and this weekend the weather was just amazing. S- Just like perfect after a couple like gloomy days.
Yeah,
So it just felt so good to be outside and like soak up that vitamin D.
I like your wallpaper. Did I see that last time we talked?
No, I was the last time we talked was during the week. So during the week I'm regulated to the bedroom, which is my office, because the 2-year-old gets the run of the house. Um,
Hi. Hey, everyone. So I'm going to
Yay.
do a little touch base one more time. My name is Kayla Bitten. I'm the founder and the owner of the Postpartum Clinic. And every Sunday we have this really fun chat where we talk about postpartum in a very unfiltered way. At least I try to make it. And this week we have Laura of Mothership Rising. If you have any questions, you can totally put them in this little box or bubble that has a question mark in it, or you can go ahead and leave any comments or anything right here in the live feed. I try to scroll back because people tend to say things and think it gets quicker, and it does because I end up forgetting about the box. But I'm going to try to use it. But if you have any questions, concerns, comments, stories, what have you, let us know. So let's jump right in. I try to respect everyone's time when they're on here on a Sunday, the day of rest. So what I wanted to do is have you tell everyone who you are. Just tell us a little bit about you and who you are and all the goodness that you're doing on your side of the internet.
All right, thanks. Well, so my name's Laura, and I'm the founder and CEO of Mothership Rising. And this is an app that I created that was inspired by my postpartum experience and the community care that I felt like so blessed to receive. That was actually kind of virtual now. This was like 2 years ago, so it was pre-quarantine life, if we can even imagine that. But part of my intention during the postpartum period was really to like rest and bond. And I didn't know what I didn't know, right? But I was so lucky to have people just rise up and reaching out to me all the time, checking in, saying, "Do you have any questions? Like, how are you feeling today?" And it was real emotional support. And that was probably the first time in my life that I allowed myself to receive that type of emotional care, where it was centered on like how I was feeling, and people really honestly wanted to know. And they didn't um they didn't want the sugar coated version. They wanted the unfiltered version. And it was like my core people, right? But it was also mothers that were friends, kind of on the like, you have your core people and then you have your outside community from your core people. And I was really humbled by those that the entire community that was reaching out to me saying, "Do you have any questions? You're doing a great job. You've got this," right? And actually a little bit like taken aback about how I realized I hadn't shown up for the people who had gone through the transition of parenthood. I was really humbled by that, and a little embarrassed, and had to sit with that and be like, well, I didn't know how to show up for people. I didn't know it was such a big transition. Um, and I didn't know because I wasn't listening. I didn't know because that conversation wasn't large enough to be amplified, right? So it was a combination of, my own responsibility, and then, how we as a community and as a culture here, we look at this transition into parenthood. We look at the transition into motherhood, specifically those first 100 days. So I was like, how can I take the good of what I received and help other people on a larger scale? And for me, I was home a lot, so I was connected to my phone. I felt like my phone was like a really positive lifeline, right? There's definitely challenges with technology, right? But I'm looking at, my question is, what is humane technology, and how does technology actually help us connect? And in those times when we are a little bit more physically isolated for whatever reason, it can be a real gift. And it can be a bridge to when we can be in person with people, right? So it's like, so how can I take what was good, and how can I take where I failed in the past of not showing up for people, and meet, what would that look like? And I was like, oh, just emotional support, having people sign up and say, be there. I'm going to be there on Monday. I'm going to be there on Tuesday. I'm going to be there on Wednesday, and I'm going to check in on you. Um, and so I came up with this idea of an emotional support calendar, and it's like the meal train for emotional support. And that's our core product. And then I was like, wait, I'm not a tech founder. I don't know how to build this. I'm not doing it. Great idea. No, I'm just one of my other Gemini ideas that came through, and I'm just gonna let it be out there in the world. And then quarantine hit, and I was like, oh, people need this. And so I felt a responsibility, since I had the idea and had connections to a developer. I was like, I guess I'm being called to do this. I guess. So saying yes to that call, and we started building it in March, really March of 2020, as soon as quarantine hit. Like a week afterwards, I was like, let's do it.
Did I know this?
No,
I'm
like
like, we both started two things that were colossal in the time of no type of resources. I didn't know you started at the same time too.
yeah, yeah. I started, and was really, blessed to have my partner is he's in tech, so he was like my advisor, and he was like, you have to just simplify what's the core product. So from kind of a founder perspective, that I was really blessed to have somebody who was challenging me in that direction, because I'm a complicated thinker, big picture, big vision, and he's like, this step, what is this step? And so we built that, and we launched that in October of 2020, October 30th of 2020. And this first year is about figuring out what's working, what's not working, how we can better serve the community, expanding and offering, some more future features, and creating partnerships.
The app is brilliant. Empowered Postpartum.
Oh, thank you. Empowered
Okay, so
Postpartum. It's so good to see you.
I have my notes right here.
Okay.
So if I look off, y'all. So you kind of answered this question already, and it was just what inspired you. So it was from your own lived experience, correct?
Correct. Correct. And what was positive about my own lived experience about receiving support, and then where I really felt like I was not able to support people before, because I wasn't listening. I didn't have the tools. I didn't know how to ask.
So based off, just to piggyback off of what you said, part of what I put in the description of a chatting today was a survey that Motherly did. Love Motherly, they're cute, they're adorable. Used to do a little writing for them, so I'm totally on board for them. But so what's interesting that I saw this past few months or what have you, was that they did their motherly survey. And so this survey and their research that they did, which was from the community of women and birthing folks, postpartum folks within their community, did a survey, right? And so since we're talking about community and how important it was and how important it was to kind of have this eureka moment that you had, which was like, oh, there's some ways that I need help, and then some ways that I probably should have and could have shown up for people. So within the survey, they talked about postpartum, birth, fertility, all these different things. And so specifically, 45% of mothers reported on being the primary caregiver for children in the household during the day. So that was something that was like, okay, unfortunately, that's something like, well, duh, we know how we try to be very resilient, right? And then Black mothers, though, say that it was most likely 53% of Black mothers said that they were most likely. So that's a huge gap. And a quarter of mothers said which was 26%, have a child care provider to support them. And very few had a partner who takes the role as a primary caregiver, and very few had shared responsibility, so equal responsibility. So contributing to this feeling, 69% of mothers say that they devote about 5 or more hours to their child or household duties, but only 13% of their partner. So your app has this feature where it's creating a circle. And so within that circle, it is providing that emotional support, whatever that looks like. So I know sometimes you have inspirational quotes that come out. There's where you can put people in those spaces, in those places, or who can raise their hand essentially and volunteer to be that person for you. So when I'm looking at these numbers and then I'm thinking about your app, I am finding that there could be a really amazing and cool connection in between that, because clearly it's necessary and it's needed, which is the support, someone helping out with the household duties. These are the specific things that these real numbers are saying that women specifically, this is how the language that they use, y'all. So that women are saying that they need help with because they're taking on a lot. And imagine doing that while also in the postpartum period. So my question is, how do you think that your app, because I kind of said it in a generalized sense, but you tell me from your words, because you're the founder and you're the creator, how do you feel like your app could help with that? Because that is a huge challenge. Let's use challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a couple ways, right? I think let's talk about like first time parents and the learning curve of first time, I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to use like the baby wrap. I didn't know how to use my stroller for like 2 weeks, because I came home and I was worried about, feeding and diapers and getting to the doctors, right? So I didn't driving with my little one in the car, all of these things, those first month sound really simple and practical, but for me, each time I had to gear up and be like, okay, how do I do this? Let me watch the YouTube video, right? And I had one friend came over and she taught me how to baby wear. And that was a game changer for me. So I think helping with those things that are just so new, that really empower the mom or parent birthing person to be capable, to be out of the house, to be connected, right? To be mobile, I think and that type of education, or if you're body feeding or chest feeding, right? Giving support and tips on that about like what worked for you or what didn't work for you. Those types of things in the beginning, I think for a brand new parent, the first time that you're doing it, there's a lot. And you may have done your research, you may have taken a class, but when you haven't slept and you're trying to figure out like, oh my gosh, is this gas? What do I do for gas? People don't teach you what to do for gas. I was like, my friend also came over and taught me it. And she's like, oh, that's gas. I was like, I took like hours and hours of class and nobody talked about gas, right? So, and everybody's going to have their own unique things that their kid needs, that you need as a parent. So I'm a big believer in figuring out as you go. So I think having a core group of people that you can go out to your community and go like, this is happening. Anybody experience this? is one of the intentions of the app, is creating that bridge. I think then the second intention is that raising of your hand to support in ways that are really practical. Like those first 3 months, you have a lot of doctor's appointments, and it's really hard if your body is hurting from recovering from birth and you're carrying, you're carrying your little one in the stroller, right? That's a challenge. Having somebody go with you, so having somebody sit in the back seat with this new little person who's may not like the car and is screaming, and you're 5 minutes to the pediatrician seems like an hour. You just feel like that person is like an angel there holding your hand. So some of that practical support. And then if, as you start to want to be able to practice self-care, like our circle is 100 days, and really we want to make it long because we want by the end for that mom to and parent and birthing person to really feel like they have been just wrapped, and maybe even it's too long to be like, you know what, like how great would it be for them to feel at the end of this 100 days like I've got it. For me, at the end of the 100 days, I was like, oh, I'm different. I'm a different person. I just started to realize that not only has my world changed, but I've changed. So having somebody be a witness to that change was really valuable for me, and holding space for kind of the unraveling of what was beginning to, and still happening, quite frankly, 2 years later, where I'm like, oh, I didn't expect to be different. I didn't expect to approach this different. I didn't expect to feel different and to think differently about things. And my priorities have shifted, and the way I'm making decisions have shifted. So having people also listen to that and affirm that has been really valuable.
You're right. I tell people all the time, or when I'm talking about postpartum, I'm like, it could be long. The feelings, the things, the rushes of emotions, the changes in the balances and hormones, all that. I'm like, a year, 2 years. So, like, you're still navigating that. And I like that you said maybe it's too long, but I rather it feel like it's too long than, you know what I mean, and not enough. Or because there
Yeah.
are just so many moving parts, and everyone's lived experiences are just different. And we can't lump that together with some type of barely research, but research back thing that we may find in some random book. But I love that it's 100 days. One thing that we do for the postpartum clinic is we have these memberships where it starts, I chat with you a month or two beforehand, before you go into your postpartum period. So we're talking about labor and delivery at this point. So you're going through that and all of that. And then when you signed up for the membership, it's a year long. So you're
Oh,
seeing me every month for a year, and that's including infant feeding information. That's including what resources do you need. I'm dealing with a population here that's mostly people of color. So there's different avenues and different things that I have to ask questions and provide support for that makes it sustainable. And I know a lot of people probably don't look at postpartum as something that you have to make sustainable, but it is. There's a lot of gadgets, and then there's lack of resources as well, which doesn't make going through postpartum period sustainable for a lot of people. We put it in the back of our head, or we don't worry about it, or we try to power through whatever the case may be. So that 1 year stretch, 12 months worth of at least 12 appointments where you're meeting with me and we're talking about, for an hour to 2 hours, we're talking and we're learning, and I'm asking, do you need to chat with a perinatal mental health specialist? I'm talking with your partner. I'm asking about your child. I'm asking about your birthing experience, and we're unpacking that. I'm constantly screening you for postpartum depression, anxiety, and psychosis. Like, that time is necessary. And I love, again, that it's 100 days, because I rather someone say it's a lot, because I have had people say, hey, I love the membership, and I know I'm on my payment plan. I know we talked prior to, but I think I'm at month 9, and I'm kind of okay now. I'm kind of tired of seeing your face, but I appreciate you. And I'm like, totally fine. But I'm glad even the fact that you took 9 months out of the 12 shows a lot.
yeah.
And it took more than just a month or 2 months, or however long most people go back to work or go back to their regular hustle and bustle of life right after birth and postpartum.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I obviously it's going to be completely different for each person. Um, I found that at month 4, I hit a wall because I thought I was okay, but I wasn't. I thought I wasn't sleeping enough and it really caught up to me. Didn't have a lot of practical support and it really caught up to me. Um, and then month 9 was when quarantine hit. So I also feel like postpartum was really kind of extended for those of us, who have experienced that with like a new little person. Um, and just noticing, like, you can't know until you're actually in it, right? You can't know until you go back to work, and you realize, oh, now this is a challenge, or you decide to stay home and you're like, oh, this is a challenge, because they're both equally challenging, right? you so just having that space and people to turn to, and I love that it's 12 months that like your offering is, because like what if at month 9 they're like, I'm good, and then 3 months later like, you know what, I just want that one more session with you because there's some stuff I want to like unpack and talk about. And I hope now that we're kind of getting to places where circles are like our circles are ending on Mothership Rising, that now the birthing person, the parent, feels like, okay, the circle is ended, but I know I can go back to that person. And I hope that the circle members still feel like, you know what, the circle is ended, but I'm still going to be really intentional to reach out. And I'm still going to be intentional to try to show up.
And that's a brilliant piece. It's doing what we say as doulas, birth workers, whoever. It's doing what we say that people should do, but they don't necessarily know how to do it, which is creating a reference list, creating a support list, support system. People you have on a literal list that you can go down a list. So that person may look like your OB, your lactation counselor, or whatever, but then you have this other one. Now, from using Mothership Rising and using this circle, now you have this resource list, which is important.
Yeah, important. And you have that resource list to who can watch your little one while you go to pelvic floor physical therapy, right? Or goes with you for a walk. Like there's only so many times you can walk around the neighborhood by yourself. Like, let's just be real. Like after a while, you're just like, all right, I really want to talk to, I want to experience this with somebody. I don't want to be, I want somebody to join me um, in this. So I think that's the other thing, is like this resource list that now you feel comfortable, that they want to support you. And then hopefully like you take that knowledge and you pay it forward and you support other people.
That's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope. And I think that's the other thing that we try to, the intention behind the app is, right, there's the idea of spoons, that everybody only has so many spoons to support people. And so we're trying to really be effective and strategic about how people use those spoons, right? So the app, the day before, we send the supporter a message, like a quick text message saying like, hey, tomorrow you're going to be supporting Laura. And I'm a supporter in 2 circles right now. And let me tell you, those reminder messages are like my favorite thing, because it's on my calendar because the app puts it on your calendar, but I still don't look at it. Um, so life gets busy and you have kids' birthdays and parents who are sick, and right, you want to show up for your friend, but yeah, you only have so much bandwidth. So we're trying to make it really strategic so that you have that kind of emotional time set aside. And then there's the support wish list that you can look in and you can see, you can get a feeling for what they're looking for. Is this a person who would like food sent, right? And you know what? Maybe even if they say it's not, that they don't need it, you can still offer, you know, you can still offer to, you can still send them a little surprise gift or drop off a little gift basket, just trying also finding ways for the community to make that um, parent feel initiated. This is also an initiation, a threshold, right? And how, as a community, we don't have a lot of ritual and ceremony. How can we create a ceremony for this person to feel that they have space to acknowledge this change and that this change is celebrated?
So my next question for you would be, um, what's one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time parent? You're a parent. So what type of advice would you give to a first-time parent that's going into the postpartum period, or the postpartum period is inevitable, it's part of becoming a parent,
Yeah.
or seeking some type of community support?
I think I would, um, you know, we don't spend a lot of time envisioning how we want to feel. And when I say feel, I guess I'm talking about two different things. I'm talking about how the feelings of our body, right? Like the sensations. Do we want our body to feel relaxed? Do I want my body to feel, at peace? Do I want my, body to feel strong? Do I want my body to feel safe? Right? So some envisioning of like what sensations I want my body to feel, and then the emotional feelings as well, right? Taking time to envision, what do I want to feel? Do I want to feel connected? Do I want to feel celebrated? Do I want to feel that I kind of got it all down? That's not that I'm figuring it out, right? So spending time envisioning that, like, what does that look like? And then how do you create that in other areas of your life? Because it's transferable. Everybody walking into the role of a parent has had a job, has had a friend, has had a challenge in their life, right? So what makes you feel good. What makes you feel like you're capable. What makes you feel like you're safe, like your boundaries are respected, right? So thinking about the past and what's worked for you and what's not worked for you, and take those skills into how you envision and see yourself in postpartum. So, for example, and then I would say, as you envision that, look around you at the people in your community, and what they did that you think you might like, right? So I had a friend who asked her family not to come for 2 weeks so that she could be just with her new one, and this was her second child. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. And when I envisioned myself, I wanted to feel like I had space to make mistakes, and I had space to really get to know my little one. And so when I thought, like, is that going to be possible with other people there? The answer for me was no. So I made the hard choice and boundary of saying, like, it's just going to be the three of us for those 2 weeks. Um, and so, our family was a little bit, they, that wasn't their favorite choice. Let's just put it that way. But I was really, really glad that I did that, because it created this like really tight bond between the three of us.
I have that as one of the, what you just mentioned, the last thing you mentioned, I have that as one of the things in our, what is it? Postpartum guide. So at the end of it, it says it's a letter. It's a pre-typed letter that we typed for you so that you can
Ooh.
also use it for your social media, or you can send it out to people that's basically saying, yes, we welcomed our little one. They are this, and their name is this, if they want to give that out. Right now, we do not wish for blah, 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 because it's important. It is a little, it makes you feel a little comfortable when you have to do it, but I love that you mentioned that, because I make that part of the care.
It
And a lot of
is.
people are just like you, like, you can do that. And I'm like, it's literally your experience and your child. You can do whatever you want to do.
Exactly, right? So when you find yourself like visioning you give yourself permission to center yourself and like what really makes you as like as the parent feel like you can be the best parent. And right, you in that transition, you it's important to remember that you're reparenting yourself, right? So there's going to be parts of yourself that come up that and you're that you need to give yourself self-compassion. You need to give yourself a voice. You need to give yourself like boundaries and protection. Um, and so you know, having a lot of other voices and personalities in the space can make that really challenging sometimes.
Hello, everyone that's joined. I'm going to scroll through the comments a little bit and see what's been happening here. I haven't looked at it. Empower postpartum. The app is brilliant. Yes, it is. That's my favorite part about the app is the birthing person and family can identify exactly what they need and wants, and folks can just sign up. No guessing games and no assumptions. That is true. So you say, yeah, I'll do the food thing. Yeah, I'll come by and help with laundry. Yeah, I'll come by and sit with you for a bit. Take that walk for the 50th time around the same block, like you just said. Baby wearing is the bomb. It is. It's an underutilized source for connecting lactation, even inducing lactation even more, helping your milk stay consistent. It's very underutilized. Hi, abundantly blessed 16. Having to research that one more thing was a huge barrier for lots of moms. I think that references back to what you said about, oh, I have to YouTube this thing, and oh my gosh, support. I need support because I have to do this thing. I have to figure out how to figure out the stroller, which I've had for 2 weeks, but it's been on the registry for the longest, and I still don't know how to work it. So definitely, totally agree about reparenting oneself. Absolutely, parenting is having a baby is just look. I went on my TTC journey with my partner. It was a good year worth of all of that. I know all the things, did all the things, and then it was just stressful. So but so those of you that went through your journeys, and you know, you, Laura, I just my experiences are completely different from y'all's, and when I hear y'all express these things and talk about reparenting and have to, you know, refocus and reshift things, I'm in awe, and I just want to support everybody all the time. So let's get into a fun question, which is what I usually do to kind of like break up the heaviness sometimes that comes with these conversations. What shows are you binging right now?
Okay, this is really embarrassing because I have no bandwidth to watch a real show between parenting and the app right now, which is going full time. So blessed, so excited, but I can't I can't follow like anything that's real. So I am watching MasterChef Australia. So it's from Australia, and I've been watching it for like a really long time, a couple years. It's my secret obsession, and it's so different than like the MasterChef here because the MasterChef Australia, everybody loves each other and they really want each other to like do well. And when they leave, they all cry, and then I cry. I call them MasterChef Australia tears. So that's my really no longer secret guilty pleasure.
I'm into any type of cooking show. I don't care what it is. But the thing that I do, and I probably will, every time I ask this question to anyone that joins, it's probably going to be the same thing every single time, which is Grey's Anatomy. So if a new episode comes out, just one episode, I have to go back a season to a specific episode and then start from there and then meet up, because I don't want to get to the episode that's happening currently and then I have nothing else to watch. Because and then I'm so obsessed with Grey's Anatomy that I'm like, I can rewatch it 50,000 times. So this season that's happening now, it's a whole bunch of tears and snottiness and whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll start at season 4 and then I'll get there.
What?
Yeah, so by the time I get there, the new season will probably be around, and that's fine with me. But that's what I do.
That's awesome. Because isn't it like season 16? So that's a lot of seasons.
You named your puppy Izzy. Look, and
Oh my God.
I'm on a season with Izzy, and Izzy is like all over the place right now. Look, I'm obsessed. I don't know. I don't know.
I get it. Back in the day when I had some bandwidth to watch a show with adults talking, that's one of the shows that I did watch for sure.
All the time. Okay, so um, what was my last question? Or did we talk about all of our questions today? We did talk about all our questions today. Well, tell everyone again who you are and tell them about Mothership Rising and your app and what's next for Mothership Rising. What are you working on? If you want to share it, if you can share it.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm actually really excited. We're working on two kind of like the two closest things that we're working on is we're adding a chat for the group in and this is, we're in testing right now. It's probably going to be released hopefully by July. And you'll be able to add pictures. You can do an update for the group. There's going to be some like statuses so the birthing person can communicate how they're feeling. There's going to be some statuses so the members can say, hey, I'm going to support you on this. And we're making the wish list a little bit more actionable so that people can actually raise their hand on it and you can see everybody who's supporting you there. So that's the first thing that's coming. And then the second thing that's coming, which I'm also really excited about, but this is really early days. We just started our design process. So for us, our process takes usually about 3 to 4 months. So we're going to add member support offerings, member support topics in the circle. So there'll be a quick, the way the mom has like a support wish list and she has a survey that she fills out and checks off the things that she wants support with. The member will have a survey of support topics that they baby wearing, cesarean, recovery, adoption, PPD, postpartum anxiety, right? Like a whole long list of things that they can check off. And then the mom will be able to see, the birthing person or parent will be able to see, oh, here's who I can go to for also all these other topics that I didn't even think about. So this is inspired by something that we do like in women's circles where people say like, at the end often we go around and say what I need and what I have to give. So in the app right now, we have where the parent can say what I need. And now we're going to give the members the opportunity to say what I have to give.
I like that. Excuse me. Oh. No, I think that's great. I'm really excited about everything that you have developing with this app. I'm going to go ahead and say again that I have never encountered an app like this. A lot of this work within maternal and infant wellness is a bit futuristic in thinking. So from my standpoint, I call it Black wellness futurism. So I'm thinking about what it will look like postpartum, birthing, all of that for the Black birthing person. And collectively, that's what this is. So it's like futurism because I don't believe these things that exist and they should. I had a conversation, or we had our last Unfiltered Postpartum last week with Gretchen, who is the Shay mom, and she had her own experience with postpartum depression and anxiety. And she mentioned that there's not a lot of research for postpartum. There's not a lot of research, period, about what's happening to the birthing person's body during the postpartum period, which it's mind-blowing, and she's correct.
Yeah.
The only thing that we have is community. And so because the only thing that we have is community and our lived experiences, we have to look to community and come together as community in order to create that support system and create that, what I love to call market research, so that we can better support the next folks to come. So this app is an extension of that, I think. I used it with a couple of my clients, and it is on track to be the app that we use for all of our postpartum members. And it's very innovative, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, we're so excited that, that you are supporting us in this way and that you are finding it like effective and useful, and that it, the vision is big and the goal is to match the vision, right? And sometimes that gap between the what you're actually doing in the vision, you got to bridge that gap. And so I'm really grateful that you're on this journey with us and you're helping us bridge that gap and giving us feedback about what's working and not working as we grow. And I'm just excited to see how the postpartum clinic is going to grow in the next year, and you guys are opening your doors. And what an amazing model that you've created, right? There isn't that model of 12 months, a whole year of support is just, it is futurism. It it is creating space for, right? Because right, my experience is that like our bodies tell the story of our lives. Our bodies help hold what we're experiencing, and our bodies, like our brains need some time to catch up to our bodies, basically, and our brains need art to help us feel. Our brains need other people to listen to us. Our brains need stories to read, so that we can see and reflect and be like, oh yeah, that's what's happening. And our brains need our friends to share their stories and to be vulnerable, to give us permission to be vulnerable.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Y'all go follow. I was trying to say follow Laura. Y'all go follow Laura at Mothership Rising. Her app is available on Apple
And
Play,
Google Play.
Google Play.
Yeah,
What is it? Oh,
yeah.
it's all the same thing to me. Google Play. Her app is available for you all to go ahead and download and just try it out. I highly recommend that you recommend this to any postpartum person in your life, anyone approaching postpartum, anyone that needs some type of support when it comes to parenting, birthing, all of that good stuff. To learn more information, like I said, you can totally join Laura over on her Instagram and go to her website. What is it? Mothershipresing.com.
Yep, that's it.
Again, thank y'all so much. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or you just want to give us a shout, you can leave us any type of DMs, leave comments under this replay, which I will be posting on our little grid on our Instagram page. Again, my name is Kayla Bitten, and it's been so good to talk to you, Laura. And I'm super excited to see what happens with your app and for us to continue to collaborate.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it. Have a great Sunday.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining.